We waited with bated breath. We saw the announcement a month ago of the Galaxy S8.
We did. We waited until
Looked
after
impressive.
IFA, or MWC, excuse me.
A number of people who got early versions or got to play with it. Did you get to play with it?
I did.
Said, I think it was probably you then, this is the most beautiful phone.
It is beautiful.
I love this phone.
It is really pretty.
But now that we've had it in our hot little hands for a couple of days, I have a couple of concerns.
All right.
It ain't perfect, right? So, but let's get the good stuff out of the way right away. It is stunning. This is the we both have the Galaxy S8 Plus.
In orchid gray.
The orchid grayish, purplish.
And they come in 3 colors. So there's a Arctic silver, midnight black, and orchid gray.
And I think that's the right color.
I agree.
Always. It is, of course, because Samsung makes them, a beautiful Super AMOLED display.
I mean, and then you have the always-on display, which
359 pixels per inch on the S8 Plus. That is a very...
Do you have the...
I'm sorry, 519 pixels. I got it wrong. How many pixels per inch? It's like, it's a lot. I think it's 519.
500 something. It's 500 something.
I mean, it is as deep a display as you're going to get. The colors are stunning. It doesn't... am I wrong, Flo, or is the screen not as curved as on the S7 and the Note 7?
I don't think it's as curved.
Feels like I got more to hold on the edge here.
I mean, you should have more to hold, right? Because look how hard it is to hold it like this.
Yeah, and I didn't the S7,
So,
this is not as much of a problem as the S7 was.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
It's a weird aspect ratio. So you have the G6.
I do.
And that
yes.
was also, what is the?
18.5 by 9. And typical smartphone ratios are 16 by 9.
So it's a little taller.
Yes, but the Galaxy S8 does a much better job of scaling than the G6 does.
Because Android apps don't expect that aspect ratio.
They don't.
They expect 16:9.
Exactly. And you will see black bars in the apps that are not supported, which is kind of a bummer, but you actually won't really notice it, honestly, as you're using it.
Let me give you an example. Yeah. This is a Ultra HD video on YouTube. We'll go full screen on it. It's a video of Chile. And you can see, now first of all, you can't see at home, but it looks
so vibrant.
Spectacular. But you can see black bars on either side, although ironically, because this is a bezel-less display, it just looks like a normal display with a bezel. There is also, though, a button on many apps to go full screen. In this case, it zooms the picture. If you have a TV that zooms the picture, you'll understand. It just crops it a little bit.
Still looks good.
So we're losing something on the top and the bottom. I don't think I would do it zoom. See how it's cut off there?
Look at that snake. It looks so good on there like that.
I wish you could see it at home because it really is vivid.
It's so good.
It's really vivid. That's a YouTube 4K video, and I'm streaming over the Wi-Fi here. And I really do think that if you want to watch movies, this is a great phone.
On the train,
except that it has one crappy little downward filing speaker.
It does, and it's not very loud for podcasts, I will say, which is frustrating.
Now, it comes with AKG headphones in the box.
It does.
Nice braided cloth headphones so they don't tangle.
$100 value, I think.
And because it has the adapt sound that earlier Samsung devices, you can tailor it to your hearing curve, which means if you're using headphones, it sounds great.
Yeah.
But you're not going to want to just listen on the plane without headphones. I don't think you'd want to do that anyway.
Don't do that. It's rude.
Yeah. And even at the breakfast table where sometimes I will listen to podcasts, it's tinny. It's not loud. So not a great speaker.
Yeah.
But Samsung's never had great speakers. Type-C, yep, we're happy about that. Headphone jack, very happy about that.
Still thin.
Yep. You can see these are the little plastic cutouts because this is glass with metal underneath, right? So they have to give antenna cutouts on the top and the bottom here so that the signal can get out of the phone. $850 on all carriers. There isn't an unlocked carrier-free version yet. Or did you got yours from Samsung? Is yours unlocked?
No, mine's Verizon.
It had to be. You had to choose a carrier. I got mine at Best Buy. Same problem. All right, so there's a lot of good to say about that because the aspect ratio is tall. You can't easily hold it in the hand, even on this is a 6.2-inch screen. It doesn't feel like a giant jumbo screen. And compare this for size. Compare it to the iPhone 7. This is the iPhone 7 Plus.
Yeah.
The screen goes it's like there's so much more screen. And as far as the physical, the iPhone's a little bit wider. And the Samsung's just a little bit taller. And thickness-wise, they're about the same. They're close enough.
Yep.
This is a few grams lighter the iPhone, the Samsung Galaxy S8. So I think in general, if you're comfortable with a larger phone like the iPhone 7 Plus, this will feel great in your hands.
The little one is
even littler.
Even littler. So this is actually a 6.3-inch Super AMOLED display.
6.3.
This is 6.3.
Oh, wow.
But if you get the smaller one, you're getting a or is this 6.2?
5.8. I think it's 6.2
You're getting a 5.8.
5.8. Yeah, I think
that's a lot of numbers going on here, folks.
I know.
Yeah, you'll get a 5.8 on the smaller one, which is quite a deal, and that one's a lot more pocketable than this one.
The face recognition works very quickly, less secure.
Does.
Iris is very quick, works pretty well, but you can't be wearing glasses or, you know, it's a little tricky.
Or you can't do it in direct sunlight either, by the way.
Yeah, but so it does work. But most people are going to want to use fingerprint. And there's where we come to the first problem with this phone. Because they lost the bezel, they put the fingerprint reader on the back. Now, is it just me or does this suck?
It's not good. It's not good, Leo. It's not good.
It's as if they took the old home button and put it on the back. It's right next to the camera. That's problem number one.
It's also a heart rate monitor, by the way.
That's a heart rate.
Yeah, it also.
Oh, okay.
Or the fingerprint scanner doubles as a heart rate, I believe. Or is it the other one?
There's one of these is a heart.
Or maybe it's the other one.
I think that's the heart rate monitor.
All right. Forget what I just said. But yes, it's the fingerprint scanner.
But I miss it half the time. It's hard to find. I mean, why didn't they just put it like Google does or LG does in the middle of the back? That's great.
And you're supposed to use it for gestures too, which is the other thing. You're supposed to be able to roll down the notification shade and do a couple thingies.
You can swipe it down and it comes down.
Oh, there you go. See, yours is enabled.
Yeah, and I just swiped up for Samsung Pay.
There you go.
I wish the face were more secure because it's much faster. I find and you're going to want to use a fingerprint reader anyway for things like Samsung Pay. And so that's a disappointment. I feel like they kind of botched it. Is that too strong to say they botched it?
Well, I was going to say that, you know, segueing from that, what else they botched?
What else did they botch?
The actual launch of Bixby. Which, by the way, Verizon users, if you're thinking of getting a GS8, you're only going to have half of what Bixby Vision can do, which is only one of the 3 parts of Bixby that work. So there's 2 parts of Bixby that work right now.
One thing, and it does work pretty well, is it'll recognize stuff. So when you go in the camera, there's a Bixby button, which there are great pains to tell you over and over. And when you tap the Bixby Vision button, this is just like the Fire phone. I could point this at a product. Let's pick something and point it at this, and it will recognize the product. Point the camera at an object, then hold your phone steady while Bixby Vision takes a look. Bixby Vision is taking a look, and then you get image and shopping, and I'm gonna press the shopping button. We've already pressed the button 3 or 4 times. And did it figure out what it is? No. It thinks
it's okay, it didn't figure out the image on mine either.
Elevative Dance by Gridlocks, Lamped USA Lounge by Hoboken, San Antonio Lounge House by Il Greco, or Coast Lounge by Belloc. None of the above. This is the Giro 360 camera. So it completely botched it.
It botched its own Gear 360.
All right, so Bixby is not a shopping assistant. This is what Amazon did with the Fire phone. Nobody bought the Fire phone. They also had a dedicated button. Here's my other problem. Okay, I'm going to push the Bixby button, right? This is supposed to launch Bixby.
Bixby live!
Hello, Bixby!
Hello!
Bixby! Hello,
Knock,
Bixby!
knock.
Doesn't do nothing. Every once in a while it works.
Now she came up.
And what do you get? This is the other part of Bixby that is working. The voice assistant is not working, but you are getting what basically is Google Now cards.
It's a little Google Now feed-ish.
Yeah. But mine has all sorts of problems. For instance, for some reason it thinks I'm in Britain.
I took some Spotify playlists. I hope
wish I could show
nothing
you
too revealing is
mine.
on here.
Reminders. It's giving me news from March on the CNN, even though my CNN app is up to date. Oh, here, it finally launched. Hello, Bixby. It's got calendar stuff. You can do reminders. There's a picture I took recently. This is where reminders could show up. You can move these cards around, weather. Samsung Health works pretty well, but for some reason, this is a March news story still showing up in the feed, no matter how much I refresh it. Twitter timeline. So it's this reminds me a lot of Google Now cards, but they don't have the information Google does about like Waze information, so it doesn't say your commute time. It hasn't shown me where I parked, at least to date. So Bixby is less useful than Google Now. You apparently cannot remap, although people keep coming up with workarounds to get this button to be remapped to
as you do in the Android world.
Google Assistant's still on here. You could still say, okay, you know who. And what do you say on All About Android?
Oh, it was Guggenflagen.
Okay, Guggenflagen.
And if that triggered your Google Home, I'm really sorry, because that also happened on All About Android this week.
Does it? It still works? Oh, well. So we got to come up with another name. So the fingerprint reader and the Bixby button, big, fat fails on what is the most important phone Samsung's ever launched. They've got to overcome the Note 7 debacle. What's your battery life been like? Because I haven't had it long enough.
Oh, it's been phenomenal. This morning, I left on standby at 20% last night. This morning I woke up, well, actually, maybe this isn't phenomenal, but this morning I woke up and it was at 3% just hanging on.
It was still alive.
It was still alive. It was hanging on, and I was able to plug it in and everything without
I get pretty decent battery life. It's nothing to jump up and down, but I get through the day, and that's the most important thing.
Yeah,
and that's unusual when you first get a phone because you play with it more, right?
But this, I mean, this screen is bright and vibrant, and it does suck battery, but this is a 3,500 milliamp battery, so a little more peace of mind.
Enough. I think there's enough,
more peace of mind.
Juice for it. So battery's good. It does support an SD card. Nice. 64 gigs of RAM. That's the only choice you have of the internal RAM.
Which is good enough.
Good enough. Absolutely. Waterproof.
Yep.
Wireless. And
both
I have
PMA
been using
and
my old Qi charger, and it works just fine. I let it charge overnight. Of course, fast charging, which is very fast. So you know, it's everything you'd expect, but unaccountably, Bixby wasn't ready. And this fingerprint reader, surely you tried this, guys, and realized that this just doesn't work. I can't even find it. Where is it? There it is. It's just not as fast or as easy to use as either the front-facing fingerprint readers on the old Galaxy phones and the iPhone, or the rear readers on the LG and the Pixel.
So fun fact, of course, the rumor mill was talking about what could have been, is the idea that maybe Samsung was thinking of building a fingerprint sensor underneath the front.
There is a force touch,
the force touch haptic feedback home button, so that those of you who really need that from the old phones will still have that. You know,
it doesn't replace it.
It doesn't, and I would have loved to have the fingerprint scanner there, quite frankly. Right. I wish it could live under the display.
So I think what you buy this phone for is the amazing display and the size of the display, even though it's a little stretched. There's no question this is the best.
It's the hot new thing.
Best looking display on the market. And I would agree with many who say this is the best looking phone on the market.
It's so pretty.
No carrier logos, which is good, but you still have the Samsung logo on the back. And by the way, no camera bump. That's smooth because, and good for you, Samsung, figuring out how to get that 12 megapixel camera. It's a little bit improved over last year's 12 megapixel S7 camera. It's a really good camera. And of course, Samsung has to load the camera with all sorts of goofy things, including Snapchat-style filters.
They're face masks.
Face masks, sorry. Sorry, and
I wonder
text.
if Snapchat filters is copyrighted, I'm wondering.
They call them face masks?
Yeah, at least that seems to be the name in the Galaxy App Store that And there are different filters, but you can't, interestingly, you can't use them more than once at a time, more than one at a time.
You can't combine them.
Yeah, you can't combine them.
All right. It does shoot RAW.
It does.
Which is nice. If you have an SD card, you can... oh, actually, no, you can't put the RAW on the SD card. It has to go to the internal memory. But
well, 64 gigs.
That's life.
It'll be fine.
That's life. I like the camera. I'll be using that a lot.
In the Galapagos.
In the Galapagos, I will. What do you think? I feel like this was Samsung's last big... It was so important for them for two reasons. One, after the Note 7 flop, they had to show people they could make a great phone that didn't blow up. And I'm sure this won't blow up.
No.
I hope not.
No.
No, I think they've solved that. And this was their chance to get in their licks before Apple comes out with the iPhone 8 or 10 or whatever the next iPhone
Well, we
is.
still have a Note 8 coming down the line.
And we will have a Note 8. And last year they announced right before Apple announced.
So summertime.
Yeah, but the Note 8 will be this, but with the stylus.
Yes, precisely.
I don't see a lot of... this will be... So actually, I guess the real question is this the Android phone to have?
Yes, but I have to be honest, I'm having a really hard time letting go of my Pixel right now. I'm still using the Pixel as the daily driver.
It makes the Pixel look like a 1958 Ford Fairlane.
It does, but I'm just so used to the Pixel, and I'm still kind of accidentally bumping stuff on the screen. I'm getting used to daily life you know, I keep the Pixel on me,
Yeah.
and then I haven't put my SIM card in this just yet.
I can't decide. I really can't. This fingerprint reader may be the showstopper for me because I need the Pixel. You just pick it up and it unlocks, and because the fingerprint reader's in the right spot, this one is not in the right place, and it's not the right shape.
Have you accidentally bumped the camera, and then when you turn the camera on, it goes, "You need to clean the lens, otherwise it's not going to work."
It does have a convenient reminder.
It does. I know you mistook me for the
see your fingerprint.
Sensor,
yeah.
But actually, I'm the camera. Please wipe me.
Yeah. How about durability? Of course, you've got a case on yours.
Durability is questionable.
Yeah.
At this point.
I dropped my S7 on the first couple of days, cracked it immediately.
You did.
So I made sure to have a little plastic sheath.
I did have some scratches on the review unit, by the way, that I just sent off to a colleague.
Oh, interesting.
So I am concerned, but you know, you can't really tell first week, I guess, with it.
If the Pixel looked like this with a good fingerprint reader, then it'd be a no-brainer. But the Pixel looks kind of clunky. It works very well. It's pure Android. This has the best screen anywhere, but a clunky fingerprint reader and a Bixby button that has no apparent purpose.
It's very fingerprinty as well. You're gonna, just touching it, your fingerprints will stay on there. Yeah. I mean, that's why I keep wiping this on my sweater.
By the way, the Snapdragon 835 in here is very fast.
First phone with the chip inside.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's, I guess, a big deal. The international versions will have Exynos, not
but still Gear VR, and we've got that new one too, which is right behind us.
We should show you. We got the
Yes, that's unopened. This is the box.
This is the, and many of you, if you buy now, your carrier will provide this. This is
for free. I think until April 30th.
Yeah. So it's, we brought out the old Gear VRs, which are no longer functional because they use the micro USB connector. You need a Type-C connector for this. And it comes as the Daydream did from Google. And I think this is a big deal. It comes with a little remote.
It's kind of a variant of the Oculus remote. It's got this little trigger up here on the top, and it's the trackpad on it and the buttons.
Mine hasn't come, so I haven't tried it yet. But it looks a little bit more comfortable. It's got like the Daydream. It's got a nice soft felty thing. It has a wider view than the Daydream.
It does. It does.
So that might be a selling point as well if you like virtual reality. I don't know. I'm torn. I wanted to say this is the best phone ever made, right? And I'm afraid I can't give it those honors.
That changes so quickly, right? I mean, that's a hard label to make.
I think I'll probably stay with this and not go back to the Pixel. But I'm not. It's not a no-brainer.
I'm there with you. I'm there with you.
Yeah, yeah. So, thumbs up.
Thumbs up, absolutely.
It's a good job.
It's a great. It's a Samsung phone. I mean.
Yeah, it's a Samsung phone. That's. Some people are positive, some people are negative.